So the sooner you start, it's better, and your commitment matters. So that's why we understand all this situation, and we want you to start learning soft skills, acquiring these new skills right now in this program, so that in practice it will be easier for you to apply that. So you don't have to learn it hard way as we did. You will be prepared once you finish this graduate program. Another thing is that there is a study that by 2030, 2/3 of the jobs will be soft skills intensive. Why? Because advances in technology and artificial intelligence can replace hard skills. And even now, artificial intelligence can diagnose illnesses better than any expert, any medical doctor. So that means these hard skills can be replaced in future by artificial intelligence. But what cannot be replaced is our human skills, right? Soft skills, how you communicate, how you connect with other human soul on emotional level. So that's why we say that soft skills is a critical component of your success. So your ability to relate to other human beings will determine your success or failure of your work, of your career, of your entire life. So this is the reason why we emphasize, we focus on acquiring soft skills and leadership skills right now, not to wait.
Thank you. Talking about replacement, when I heard the term replacement, I would like to ask Dr. Debashish, are we here to replace other postgraduate programs in this city? Or how is this degree or program different from other postgraduate programs?
You mean MBA?
I didn't mention.
Actually, I'm reminded, I was thinking about these questions, and I was reminded of a very interesting story. I don't know how far this is true, but supposedly it's true. In the 1970s, when Japanese automakers were decimating US automakers, the US economy became very gloomy. Many people lost their jobs. And they did not know how to actually counter the Japanese onslaught in the American auto industry. So they went to the famous guy, Milton Friedman, and asked him, do you think the American automobile industry will ever be competitive with the Japanese? And he said, yes, I'm sure by the next year they'll be very competitive. And he asked, what's the source of that optimism? He said, well, I just heard that the Japanese started the MBA program. I don't know whether that's true, but that's the level of disgust he had for MBA programs. Because to him, MBAs are nothing but glorified bachelors. For bachelor business degree for all other disciplines. So, since I'm the director of the MBA program for 10 years, so I took that to heart. Because coming from him, if it did come from him, it's enormous in that sense. So we tried to change the MBA program and keep the MBA program so it becomes relevant and it becomes consequential, it becomes important. But no matter what we do, at the end of the day, the MBA program is basically trying to maximize shareholder, stakeholders' equity. It's maximization of profits, minimization of losses, maximization of sales. Those are the basic criteria that we have in the MBA program. And it's unique, it's important. I think engineers who lead many corporations having some business exposure is very important. This program, on the other hand, is actually designed to maximize social welfare. It's beyond individuals, it's beyond a firm, beyond a consumer, it's about the whole society. And that's why it's much more relevant, I think, in terms of a nation than the MBA program, in that sense. I believe very strongly that even in the MBA program now, more and more emphasis is being placed on leadership. I don't think anybody could have explained that concept of leadership well than you did. It was very, very inspiring to me. the way you said leadership. Yes, I went to a class totally unprepared, and really some form of classwork helped. And even in the MBA program, we are emphasizing on soft skills, which is a prerequisite for leadership. So I think the MBA program is much broader in its perspective, much broader. And it's much more catered to the growth and the development of a nation, and the MBA program is much more catered to the development of an individual consumer of one. So it's really not a parallel program. Each of them is uniquely distinctive and uniquely useful.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.
I think, may I just add,
Yes.
just to supplement the Professor Devashish, we should not forget this program, we incorporate two concepts, public policy and leadership. When we say public policy, is all about what government wish to and wish not to do. And that definitely has a lot of consequences for all organizational leadership. No matter it's a public organization, private organization, or NGOs. So, keeping in our mind the rapidly changing world and the rapidly changing government decision, and in this changing decision environment, how a leadership find a way to still make the organization productive, creative, innovative, and to survive. This is what I think one of the important aspects of this public policy and leadership, how to deal with government changing decision. And also, we are thinking the worldwide today, doing business in public sector, private sector, or running the NGO's activity is not the country or the nation state context is not enough. You have to think globally. So this course, I believe, it would find interesting by the public sector official, private sector official, managerial people, as well as NGO. Everybody, we design in such a unique way. I think this is what I want to just add on what the Professor Devashish just mentioned. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Kudus. I would now like to ask Dr. Ravi.
Can I?
Yes,
Can
Dr. Mr. Bras.
Can I just comment on that? I think it's absolutely correct. The way we look at it, there is a space in society for public policy where the third sector, or let's say the private sector, can partner with the public sector and make a difference. And I think this is crucial when we look at social policy. For example, we look at where we can fill, particularly in contexts like Bangladesh, where we can fill the gap of provision by the state. The multidisciplinary aspect of the thinking strategies, the critical thinking approach, all of that is, in my view, the key to the future leadership. When we look at a more connected world, you could be today I'm sitting in London and talking to an audience in Bangladesh. This audience in Bangladesh could be the leaders for organizations beyond Bangladesh. It could be for people even in the West. There is a huge scope of learning that this particular program will bring. It's one thing that is critical here is the difference between what is management and what is leadership. And what I really like about this program and the way it is structured is that opportunity for discussion about what a good leadership is, where management probably is defined by specific parameters. Leadership is actually making decisions that would have huge impact for the future. And these decisions could be taken by anyone, could be taken at any time. But what is important is to develop the skill to be able to project what will happen in the future and take a specific, quick decision that is wise and that would enable an organization or a group of people move forward to a positive future. There is a huge benefit of discussing this and laying the foundation for something that would probably be very essential for the future, on how to take decisions in matters related to ethics, which have been discussed before. As Professor Abdul Quddus said, what is our moral standing on this? How do we take decisions that actually propel the society into the future and make sure that these decisions, the side effects of these decisions are not detrimental, but the positive effects are far-reaching and visionary. And that is, in my view, that is one of the implied goals of such masters. That is something that students would take for the future and apply as future leaders of communities, not just within Bangladesh, but globally, because we today, we live in a global society.
Thank you, Mr. Libras. That was very insightful. Yes.
Today, আমি একটা কথা শুনতে পেয়েছি আজকে, যে কোনো একটা কথা. A guy in Chittagong just said, what's the use of studying public policy and leadership? These are fancy terms, that's it. But, what Nibras was saying, and also others here, leadership skills don't happen in a vacuum. They just, if you assume that we are all innate, we have this innate ability imbued in us, all the leadership skills and qualities, that's fundamentally wrong to claim. You need academic, professional training. Well, if you are an exceptional guy, person, if you have some abilities from your early childhood, and if you have been exposed to a group of individuals since you are growing up, you are blessed, of course, and you do get some added advantage of having those abilities or leadership skills. But you need education. You need formal training. If you get that training as well, you ace. You truly make an impact, and it's guaranteed. So that's what we aim to do in this program, hopefully.
Thank you so much, sir. Moving ahead, Dr. Rookie. Would you like to say a few?
Well, policy that matters, leadership that endures. In fact, this tagline of this program says a lot about this program. Boni, don't you feel, Master of Public Policy and Leadership, the program itself is an example of how policy and leadership are too much related? You see, a lot of leadership challenges were there to offer something like this new in Bangladesh, as well as in the world, as well as there are a lot of policy formulation issues. So it's a great example of how policy and leadership are too much related. Well, by the way, I'm not going to talk much about this. Let me give some takeaway, think of mind for the audience of today's program. I'd like to ask the audience of this program, did you ever think why we failed to get the compensation from the Maguchhara gas field accident by Occidental? Think why. Did you ever think why are we struggling to come up with a solution of Rohingya crisis, even though we are negotiating with the international community a lot? Did you ever think why the third world countries are fighting a lot and negotiating with the international leaders about the climate change, but in vain? Well, on the other part of the side, you may say, yes, the leaders of USA, China and European countries are good enough to win about these climate change issues? That is why we are looking for something called ethical leadership. Ethical leadership will ensure the benefit for the society and sustainability, and that is why we want to have leader like Sherwal like Fazlul Haq, and that is why we are offering a scholarship in his name. Well, I would like to talk about how policy influences business decision making and leadership. Let me give you two examples. One more thing before that, let me tell you, we concentrated on two issues. One is ethical leadership, and you have heard a lot about this, and the other part of this is the innovative leadership. You may ask, what is innovative leadership? I hope all of you have heard about Elon Musk. Think about him. He's so innovative. Can you ever imagine a private space station? He has initiated. He's now working on electric car in his Tesla. So these are the innovative leadership. He thought ahead of time, and that is why he's Elon Musk. Let me give an example, one more, how a leader can predict the future policy and make a correct decision. A few years back, just before the budget, I have seen a lot of lorries in front of my house. I reside in DOHS, and there's a big steel industry, in fact the leading one, I'm not mentioning the name. And I have seen a lot of billet they are importing from abroad. And I was wondering, well, what's going on? And immediately after the budget, I have seen that there is an embargo on importing billet and high tariff on it. It means what? The leader could predict what is going to happen after the budget, what policies the government going to take related to this issue, and accordingly predicted, and they are the leader of the market. So these two are very much related. Let me tell you one thing. I would like to congratulate those who have taken the endeavor to join in this program as the first batch student. Congratulations. And definitely, this will be the year that will change your life. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Ever so dynamic critics, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I would like our audiences, if we have our prospective students who are going to join us from this semester, we have, can I request our MPPL students to please stand up? This will be the first batch of MPPL. Can we have a huge round of applause for them? Congratulations, you have probably taken the hardest decision of your life, but we will make sure this is the best decision as well. So you guys can have a seat. Thank you. Any questions from our students, from our faculty members, our special guests here? Any questions for the experts?
Thank you very much. This is Amir Mohammed Nasrullah. I'm serving as a professor of public administration in the University of Chittagong and also the chairman of the department currently. Anyway, I'm a student of public administration, but I had my PhD in management studies and policies from England. So actually, out of my curiosity and invitation from Dr. Quddus, I'm here today. I'm very delighted to know about the whole program. I'm very excited that the courses that are included here is very interesting and very important for both the government side as well as for the private sector. And I personally believe that the courses that are included here, especially for the students, it will enrich your, both the capabilities, soft and hard skills, and as well as you'll be able to make decisions in the private sector as well as whatever you are, public sector or private sector, it will help you to make good decisions about to run the organizations. So from my side, actually, I'm very excited, and as I'm from the Public University of Chittagong, so if you need any support from the university side, I'm here to support you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Approval from an expert like you is very important for us. Thank you so much. We have a student with us.
Good afternoon. Actually, I'm not asking any questions, but just I want to share my feelings. My name is Lelung Kumi. I belong to an indigenous group from the Chittagong Hills of Banturun, one of the most excluded community known as Kumi. That's around 33,000 population in the Bangladesh. So I'm the first graduate among the Kumi community. from Australia in 2010 in sociology. I studied sociology since then. After I came back, I worked for a joint program of UNDP, CSTDF, Heritage Development Facilities, and Bandhavgarh Hill District Council as a planning officer for 5 years. Now I'm working for a Health Club International as a learning talks internship program as a program coordinator. So it's been like almost 9 years that I finished my undergrad from Australia, and I've been trying to enroll in some other master's program in Dhaka, sociology, in anthropology, or development studies. But anyway, it's quite far for me to travel to Dhaka every week from Bandhavgarh to Dhaka, so I stopped 2-3 programs in fact. So Chittagong is just like 60-70 kilometers from Bandhavgarh, and the newly introduced MPPL program is really fantastic, and I like it, very interesting to me. And as a development worker or social activist, I've been involved since I came back from Australia. I've been involved in many social activities, social organizations. So I'm sure that this program, this course, will shape my leadership or my roles in society, and even I would be able to take back the knowledge, the skill I will gain from this program to the remote area where I'm from. You might have heard of the name Bangladesh, Kyokaro. I'm from that part. My mother, my parents, none of them speak Bangla, let alone English. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nella. That was very inspiring. And somebody at the back?
Hello.
Mr. Saidi Rahman Shakar?
Assalamualaikum. I come from Dhaka. I teach at North South University, and I was invited by Ponni to be here. I was also myself a public policy graduate. And when I was coming back to Bangladesh after having a public policy degree, I was very sure that I'm not going to find a job because nobody here cares much about public policy. I want to give you an example. New students can think of your introductory case studies for the upcoming program, which is once I asked one of my colleagues that how do you feel about the nuclear, atom bomb that was dropped in Nagasaki and Hiroshima in 1945, and he said, well, what happened back, but it was a good example for the rest of our lives so that we don't do that. Interestingly, I was sharing my students' public cases of public policy. I came across with the exact Manhattan public policy case. And then I found out that the dropping the bomb into Japan was a cost-benefit analysis on the part of Americans. So American calculated that if they drop the bomb now, it will save 20,000 American soldiers. And if they don't drop it, the war would go for a couple of weeks more, and they would have to let go of 20,000 American soldiers. But they did, they just dropped a bomb. There comes leadership. Who has the right to decide whether we're going to save 20,000 American people or save two cities? Who is going to decide? And that is where leadership comes, that is where morality comes. If you look what is happening right now in Dhaka, just what's finished, that the government decided to stop rickshaws in the major roads of Dhaka city. And we also know that the reason of traffic congestion is not only the rickshaw pullers, but also the excessive private cars. You see, the leaders are always in a dilemma.